Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield has enjoyed a bit of a rejuvenation this year with his new team. However, as the Bucs and him get set to play up against the Detroit Lions defense, it's quite honest in my opinion that the Lions defense could knock him down a peg or two. We're going to talk about it in today's episode, folks, so stay tuned. It started with an owner who had a last name fans despised, hiring a coach that the experts thought was crazy.
But I got a plan, I swear to you.
Who traded for a QB that was said to be washed up. They said the Detroit Lions would never amount to anything, that it would always be the same old Lions. But this team, our team, has a new identity, defined and expressed by the crazy head coach.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes, I will beat your ass.
Led by the QB that nobody thought was good. Motor City Mania is in full swing and ready to start. So join the show and be prepared for kneecap biting, because Motor City Mania starts right now. Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of MCM, Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and we're diving in right now. As always, to the returning guests, I just want to say thank you all for coming back. Thank you all for your view, your support, your patronage, and to the newcomers, I hope you all enjoy the content. I hope I gain your subscription. And as to everybody, I just want to say God bless, and let's dive into today's content. So here's the thing, folks. We already know that this game is going to be a game that realistically is going to be a matchup, so to speak, between the Lions offense and the Buccaneers defense, because those are the two primary strengths of each one of these teams. The Lions offense is one of the best in the league. The Buccaneers defense is supposedly one of the best in the league. I still think that because of the fact that they haven't played a fifth game, their numbers are slightly inflated. But again, being with what we have and being what I've heard from everybody else, those are the two strengths of each team. Lions offense, Buccaneers defense. And in my previous episode yesterday, which I'll put the link to that back at the top, I showed, in my honest opinion, why I think the Lions should be able to get the advantage against the Buccaneers defense because of the fact this Buccaneers defense is slightly susceptible to the run, is slightly susceptible to running offenses, especially really good rushing offenses, especially from what we saw in that Philadelphia Eagles game. Well, we're going to go back to that same well, but now we're going to take a look at not the Lions offense and how we can garner something from the Eagles offense in that game. Now we're going to take a look at the Buccaneers offense and what the Lions defense can take away from that game. Because I'm going to say this right now. While I said in my intro that Baker Mayfield has enjoyed a rejuvenation of such for this year, which, let's be fair, he has enjoyed himself a bit of a good start to the year here with the Buccaneers, we have to understand something here. Realistically, the reason why, Baker Mayfield has enjoyed that rejuvenation, first and foremost, in my honest opinion, is that he's actually using the wide receivers in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin to the fullest extent that he possibly can, which that definitely helps. But when you take a look at the games that he's played, he's kind of been, a little bit of 50-50. There are times when he plays really well, which we've seen in 2 games that he's played this year, and there have been times that he's not played really well, which we've seen in 2 games this year. The 2 games that he has not played really well in was the Vikings game, which was the very first game of the season, so okay, maybe he was a little rusty coming out the gate. But the other game that Baker Mayfield has not played really well in was against the Philadelphia Eagles, which again is the only loss that the Buccaneers have this year. So I was like, okay here, let's take a look at what happened in that game. First and foremost, when you take a look at Baker Mayfield's stat line in that game, it doesn't look too bad right off the bat. 15 of 25, 60% completion rate, 146 yards. That's not really good, but whatever. 1 touchdown to 1 pick. Doesn't really look all that bad. But when you start taking a look at the film and you start taking a look at everything else, you then start to realize why the passer rating and the QBR were also particularly low at 73.1 passer rating and a 30.1 QBR. Because if you realistically look at it, the reason why Baker Mayfield's numbers look a lot better than what they really should be is because Baker Mayfield had one last drive in the fourth quarter where pretty much he got garbage time scoring points, and that was pretty much it. Without that drive, pretty much Baker Mayfield has an absolutely abysmal game. And when you take a look at these film clips that I'm about to show you, you're going to understand exactly why I'm saying what I'm saying. So let's dive into the clips really quickly here. So let's look at this first one. In this first one, we're going to see the Buccaneers offense in kind of a strong I formation. The fullback is towards the tight end side. That's why it's called a strong I. We have 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end. We have 2 running backs, one of which is a fullback, as I just said. So what do we see here in the play? As the play rolls through, we're going to see Mayfield snaps the ball. This is a designed play-action play. The play is a deep crossing pattern over the middle between the two wide receivers. Well, this is designed so that, one, it confuses the safeties that are up deep to try and figure out who has who, and it's designed to free somebody up so then that way the quarterback can take advantage of that confusion. It's a man defense. So, what do we see happens here? Mayfield makes the correct read on who to throw to. The problem is he completely whiffs on the throw. If he threw this ball accurately and actually got the ball to his wide receiver, the freaking wide receiver would have been gone. And I'm going to show it in a still frame here. Literally look at all this green grass that this wide receiver has. If Baker Mayfield had just actually gotten the ball to him, he'd have been gone. This is what you called a missed opportunity. And again, it's not like Baker Mayfield was pressured. It's not like he had anybody in his face. He just completely whiffed on the throw. And this has been one of the biggest problems that Baker Mayfield has had over the course of his career. Missing wide open guys or missing throws that are very manageable, they're very easy to make without the fact that he has any pressure, and he still misses this pass. This is a pass that most quarterbacks should be able to make, and Baker Mayfield completely overthrows the wide receiver, missing a huge opportunity very early in the game. So that's first play on this whole, list of plays that I've got to show you guys from that game from the Buccaneers offense. Let's take a look at the second play here. In this play, we're going to be in the gun. What we're going to see is the wide receivers. We have 3 wide receivers. We have 1 tight end. We have 1 running back. Now, as the play rolls through here, I'm just going to let you guys all know what's going on here. This is purely what you call a coverage sack, because what you're going to see is Baker Mayfield's trying to find somebody to throw to, but there's almost nobody open. The only option that would be available for Baker Mayfield to throw to is a tight window throw that's right over the middle. But what you're going to see is that wide receiver who's number 10, Trey Palmer, he's literally right within that tight window. Baker almost decides to throw this pass, almost decides to force it into the window, but what happens is Baker Mayfield is sacked before he can make that very bad decision. But what am I trying to show with this play? Again, when you take a look at what's going on here, if I recall correctly, the Eagles are only bringing 4 down linemen. That's it. They're not bringing as many players as they could to get after Baker Mayfield. And the coverage on the back end is really good. This is something that the Lions defense has done exceedingly well over the last 3 weeks. And if the Eagles defense can do it, I fully expect that the Lions defense can do it as well. Covering up those wide receivers, making sure they can get good pressure so that way we can get sacks. This is part of the reason why I showed this play here, because again, one of the things we know about Baker Mayfield is that when he gets pressured, when he gets forced off his spot, he is not very good. He gets jittery, he starts throwing balls into tight windows, which usually results in interceptions, which we'll see here in a little bit later. Now, that was play number 2. Let's take a look at play number 3. Again, we're going to be in the gun. We got 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back. What you're going to see here is that both the tight end and the running back are in the backfield. It's kind of like a split gun look with the quarterback in the middle. What happens is Mayfield snaps the ball, and the first thing he does is you're going to see here is he immediately looks to the left-hand side of the field towards his wide receiver, Tompkins. He never looks anywhere else. And as you're going to see as the play runs through for the first time, pretty much Baker Mayfield misses the throw on this one. He throws it way too far outside to the left. But what I'm going to show you here now in this still frame is take a look at the tight end that came out of the backfield into the flat. He's wide open. If Baker Mayfield would have broken off that first read and come back to the backside, he could have picked up a nice 5, 6, 7, 8 yard gain right here and made it a manageable down and distance, so then that way the offense could have potentially converted. But that's not what Baker Mayfield did. He instantly, what's the word I'm looking for here? He focused and zeroed in on his first read, and he never left to go anywhere else. This is a problem with quarterbacks that just instantaneously zero in on one guy and they don't look anywhere else. And now as I'm going to show you here from the backfield view of the play, you're going to see how bad Baker Mayfield misses this throw. The wide receiver doesn't have any chance to potentially take the ball outside and maybe pick up the first down. He throws the ball too far outside. Now, granted, he's trying to make sure that cornerback can't get it, but it's also got to be in a spot where the wide receiver can get it as well. But if you take a look at how tight this coverage is, Baker Mayfield should have never thrown this ball in the first place, regardless of the situation. He should have checked it down and made it a much more manageable down and distance. This is yet again another part of the problem with Baker Mayfield. He doesn't make smart decisions when the pressure is on. He starts trying to force things. He starts trying to pick up chunk plays when all he needs to do is find a smarter play which will get him closer to what he's looking for, but rather he makes a dumb decision and he makes a bad throw throw. And that's exactly what we saw both with the regular view and the backfield view when we take a look at this play. Now, that's play number 3. Now, let's take a look at play number 4. This is going to be what we're going to see for the interception that Baker Mayfield had in this game. And again, this just shows the same damn thing with Baker Mayfield. He just does not read defenses nearly as well as he should to. I'm not saying that he doesn't do it well all the time. I'm just simply saying there are times when Baker Mayfield literally just, it looks like he's got deer in the headlights and he completely flounders. And this is one of those examples. Again, we're going to be in the gun. Take a look what happens during this play. Baker snaps the ball. The first thing he does is he looks to Mike Evans to the left side of the formation. It's pretty much what Mike Evans is doing. He's running like a slant pattern here. But what Baker realizes is that he's double covered in a zone coverage. So Baker Mayfield wisely decides to move off of that throw. But what he does then is he transitions directly to over the middle of the field, and he sees that his other wide receiver, Chris Godwin, is appearing to be open over the middle. And I'm going to show you guys in a still frame what exactly Baker Mayfield is looking at here. And you're going to see that, yes, at first glance, it looks like this guy is open. But what you're also going to see in the still frame is there's that safety up there that's also got his eyes on Baker Mayfield's eyes, and he's creeping into that zone. So again, it's kind of like a bait and switch here. What happens is that the safety, whose name is Blankenship, he instantaneously reads on that look that Baker Mayfield is giving. He steps right in front of the throw, and there's no chance for this pass to get completed because literally Baker Mayfield does not do any good. He doesn't do a good job of trying to throw the safety off with his eyes. He instantaneously goes right to the middle, and he just throws the ball right away. The safety, literally, all he has to do is just step in front of the pass, get the easy interception, and that's exactly what happens. This is yet again another example of Baker Mayfield not doing simple quarterback 101 here. And that's what results in bad plays like what we've seen already to start this drive. Or sorry, start this video, not the drive. This is like well into the game by this point. So that's play number 3. Now we're going to get to, let's see here. I'm trying to make sure I'm on the right page here. Okay, now I'm getting to the last play here. That might have been play number 4. Either way, here's the last play. So what you're going to see here is in this particular play, take a notice of the Eagles defense. The Eagles have 4 down linemen, they have 2 deep safeties, and they have 4 cornerbacks here. What the Eagles are going to do in this play is they're going to do a 2 deep zone defense and only bring again 4 guys to pressure Baker Mayfield. Now, as the play rolls through, the 4 down linemen, they disrupt the pocket, again, forcing Baker Mayfield off his spot. But again, take a notice of what happens here. This is a coverage sack. Look at the still frame here. Everybody is covered, and there's no clear throwing lanes or any reasonable area that Baker Mayfield could throw to unless he wants to, again, try and force another throw and get a potential another interception here. So as such, all Baker Mayfield can realistically do at this point is take another sack. And again, the reason why I'm showing this play like I showed the last one is, again, because what the Lions are doing really good right now is they're getting pressure with only 4 or sometimes 5 guys. They're getting into the backfield. They're disrupting the quarterback. They're making him uncomfortable. We saw it last week against Bryce Young. We saw it the week before that with Desmond Ridder. We've seen the Lions do a very good job of getting after quarterbacks, and I don't think they're going to have any problem getting after Baker Mayfield this week as well. When you think about it from that perspective, when the quarterback starts getting pressured and there's really good coverage on the back end, it's going to make throws very difficult. It's going to be putting them into tight windows, which means you have a good chance of getting interceptions. Now, I am going to say this. We are going up against 2 really, really good wide receivers. We're going up against Chris Godwin. We're going up against Mike Evans. Those are guys that are not to be taken lightly. And here's one other thing I know. Baker Mayfield, as much as I don't think he's all that good of a quarterback, he still can make plays, and he still has the wheels to move around and run if he so chooses to. So the Lions are going to have to do a really, really good job, first and foremost, making sure their coverage is good, especially on the back half with the safeties and the cornerbacks up front, but they're also going to have to make a good job of making sure they keep contained, they make sure they keep Baker Mayfield in the pocket, sack him, get him uncomfortable, make him have to throw throws that he doesn't want to throw, and make sure that they can potentially get either sacks or interceptions. Because again, if you go back to that game, the Buccaneers couldn't run the ball at all. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't really feel the threat from the Buccaneers offense to run the ball against our Lions defense, because the Lions have a top 5 rushing defense this year. I'm not too worried about that. What we need to do is get Baker Mayfield uncomfortable, make errant throws, off the target throws, so then that way it forces them into long downs and distances, and it makes them a one-dimensional offense, even more so than what they really already are. But again, that's so far what I saw from the Buccaneers offense against the Eagles defense. And again, while the Eagles defense is still pretty good, the Lions defense is also pretty good so far over the last 3 weeks. And I fully expect that the Lions defense will continue to do that, especially against the Buccaneers offense, which, as I said, is primarily a one-dimensional offense. They don't really run the ball a whole lot or really well. They mostly rely on Baker Mayfield and those 2 wide receivers of Chris Godwin and Mike Evans to be the ones that primarily get the offensive production. If you're able to slow that down, it's really going to hamper this Buccaneers offense, which is going to give our offense a lot of opportunities to drain the clock, run the ball, and run up the score, which I fully expect the Lions will do. Again, I'm not expecting that the Lions are going to win this one like they did against the Panthers last week, 42-24. But I do expect the Lions should win this game with at least a touchdown differential. Whether it's by 7 or 10, I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me if we win this game like, maybe 28-21 or 31-21, something like that. That is something what I'm expecting from this game here for the Lions. I expect it to be a good game because of the Buccaneers defense, but I think the Achilles heel of the Bucs is their offense, and I don't think they're going to be ready to go against our defense right now, because our defense is playing really, really well. And I'm hoping and praying that it does exceedingly well on Sunday when we play the Buccaneers as well. So we'll see what happens. But I think I've done a pretty good job of, again, presenting the film evidence, presenting the film study. You guys will obviously let me know what y'all think. And without further ado, I just want to say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to do one of these 3 things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and you've not had a chance to do so, first and foremost, I want to, again, encourage y'all to subscribe, but I also want to encourage y'all, please, make sure you hit that bell notification icon that's at the bottom of the page after you subscribe, so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Again, subscription numbers are always going up, but we want to make sure we turn that bell notification icon on, so that way you guys always get the most up-to-date updates that I have whenever they come out for my channel, and you never miss any of my content. And with that, I also want to encourage y'all, please, share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with anybody and everybody that you can. And with that, I just want to again say thank you all for tuning into the show. Thank you all for your view, your support, your patronage. Hopefully I gained your subscription. And with that, I just want to again say thank you all for all that you do. God bless. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.